Welcome, YouTube, to another exciting game of Deaths of Athazar card game. This is a game between Saeed Fahad and Rashid Al-Otaibi. They played this game a couple of weeks ago at Versus Game Room in Khobar, Saudi Arabia. And I want to take a look at this game because this is a perfect example of how a player used some of the tips that we had on our YouTube channel and how he was able to win the game quicker than what people expected. So let's go ahead and kind of look at what happened here. Uh, as always, each player is given 7 cards at the start. Now, even though we can see their cards on the screen, they were not able to see each other's cards. Rashid had an assassin, a wise man, a merchant, a hunter, a warrior, a renegade, and a brawler. And actually, this is kind of a very usual hand where a person has 7 different cards. You know, there were no multiples here. Whereas Saeed had he had one multiple. He had a pair of archers and a magician. And as you know, magicians are allowed to kill off 2 cards that are the same. So, so he's probably at an advantage at this stage right now. So what they did was they went ahead and passed 1 card over. All right. And because Rashid had the hunter and a brawler, he decided to pass over 2 cards, and Saeed passed over 1 brawler. Because Rashid was the first player on the left, he decided to go first. So he went ahead and had the renegade kill the wise man, and Rashid responded with what we expected was the magician killing off the 2 archers. And they were dealt, each one was dealt another card from the deck. Both players getting brawlers at this point. And I think at this point, Saeed started to count the cards. Um, he knew that he passed over a brawler and he got another brawler coming in. And now that he was dealt another brawler, he was counting how many brawlers were coming out of the deck. And I think Rashid was doing the same thing because during the pass phase, they just started passing brawlers to each other. So that is exactly what's happened in this next pass phase. Um, Rashid passed over a brawler, and Saeed this time passed over a hunter and a brawler. And again, I think Saeed was counting the cards, counting the number of brawler cards in his hand. And because he was counting the cards, he was able to kind of predict what Rashid was going to pass him. Right. One thing that was strange about this game was there was no sailors played in this game, which was very, very, very unusual. I mean, uh, there have been very few card games of Deaths of Athazar that have been played that didn't have any sailors involved. So at the end of the pass phase, this time it was Saeed's turn to go first, and he decided to have the warrior kill off the renegade, keeping that assassin behind because the assassin can kill off any card with any number. So Saeed was trying to keep the most powerful card in his hand. Rashid Al-Otaibi responded by assassin killing the brawler, uh, making sure that he kept a merchant and a hunter just in his back pocket. The reason why he kept the merchant, I think, was because he thought that he would be able to use it later on, where if Saeed got to a point where he was down to 1 card and Rashid had more than one, he can use the merchant to swap the cards because you know one of the abilities of the merchant is it allows a player to exchange all the cards in your hand with the other person. Of course, that doesn't work if you have a djinn. Right? So at the end of that phase, each person is dealt a card. Saeed gets the prince, and Rashid Al gets a 7 warrior. They do the swap, um, and again, they were passing brawlers like crazy in this game. Rashid Al decides to pass a brawler with a hunter, while Saeed just went ahead and passed the brawler over to the side. At this point, Rashid decides to kill the brawler, and Saeed, seeing that Rashid has two cards left, decides to go ahead and use his disruption card of the Prince, and the Prince allowed him, forced Rashid to take another card from the deck, bringing his card total from two back up to three. And knowing that now that it's the deal phase, each player is now going to get an extra card from the deck, and Saeed gets a Renegade, and Rashid gets another Brawler. I think it was at this point that Saeed really started to count the cards, because Rashid did basically what's the basically Rashid did what was expected, was to pass the weakest card in his hand, which was the Brawler. So did Rashid. So they end up they end up swapping Brawler for Brawler. Okay, Rashid did not play his Hunter this round. He decided to keep him just to. I don't know what the tactic was, but he just decided to keep the Hunter for some reason. And during so on his turn, he decided to play the assassin, kill the brawler, and Rashid went ahead and killed off his merchant. I guess he figured that the merchant wasn't going to be useful in this game. He felt like it probably would never get to a point where Saeed would have an advantage over him. All right, so doing so, now here again, they get the Delta card from the deck. Rashid gets another brawler, and this time Saeed gets a magician. And this is the point of play that I want to talk about. Saeed, like I said, I think he was counting the cards, and he knew that Rashid had a brawler in his hand, and he was thinking about one of the videos that we had on the YouTube channel that talked about which cards are most likely to be passed during the pass phase. And since he kind of felt that there were no sailors played out, right? Because he was looking also at the graveyard and looking at the cards that were being killed off. And he realized that, hey, I have a magician and a brawler. The chances of me getting another brawler, was very high at this point. And since he already had a hunter and a renegade, you could pass those two cards off, get a brawler, and win the game. And that is exactly what happened. Uh, because actually, Rashid looked like he had a 20 warrior and two brawlers. Rashid was thinking, okay, I have a 20 warrior. I can use this 20 warrior to kill off some of my cards in my hand. But if he was smart, instead of passing over the brawler, he could have passed over the warrior. And if he passed over the warrior, that actually would have disrupted Saeed's win. But he didn't do that. So during the pass fade, Rashid passes him a brawler, and Saeed passes him the hunter plus the renegade. And even though Rashid had the first turn at this round, um, looking at his hand, he didn't have enough kills to get rid of all the cards in his hand. He was only able to kill off one card, which he did, which is he took the renegade and got rid of the hunter. Probably thinking that if he killed the hunter, it will reduce the odds of him getting two cards on the pass phase. But at this point, it really didn't matter. And Saeed took his magician and two brawlers and won the game. And Rashid pretty much you should have saw him at the table. He was pissed because he practically gave him the game by passing him that brawler off to him, and that's when he realized he should have passed the warrior. So yeah, that's the end of that game, and that was a very good game, a very strategic game, a perfect example of using some of the tips that's on our channel about which cards to pass and counting the cards and knowing how many cards of a particular character are in a deck. Well, I hope you liked that game of Deaths of Athazar. If you'd like to purchase the game, you could go to doacardgame.com. That's doacardgame.com. It's a very quick, cutthroat game. It's becoming very popular in our little area here, and I hope that it will become a very popular game here in the Middle East. The Middle Easterns love their card games, so this is just one card game that they can enjoy, with friends and family over tea or coffee. So if you like more videos, just go ahead and click and subscribe down below. And thanks for watching.